Greetings and welcome to ValoU. I'm Zeladrith and I'll be your instructor for today. Today's class is Mechanics 101, Mouse Sensitivity. DPI means dots per inch, which basically means how many pixels the mouse moves across the screen for a given amount of distance on your mousepad. A common DPI tactical shooter players use might be 800 DPI, which we'll use for examples. Valorant ignores Windows mouse sensitivity and uses in-game sensitivity instead, which defaults to 1.0. If you multiply your DPI by your in-game sense, this gives you your effective DPI or eDPI. So what sense should you use? Crunching some data available online, the median eDPI for pro players and streamers is about 251, which equates to 0.31 in-game sense at 800 DPI. The mean is 278 eDPI, which is about 0.35 in-game. At the same DPI, the middling 50% of Valorant streamers and pro players play between 0.275 and 0.4 in-game sense. The middling 90% play between 0.2 and 0.5. Personally, I play at 0.3 at 800 DPI, putting me at around the 40th percentile of mouse sensitivity. If you're playing at a sense that falls outside of the middling 90% of these players, you might want to try adjusting it. I'd recommend starting at a number around the median, such as 0.32 in-game sense at 800 DPI. After all, adjusting your mouse sensitivity is one of the fastest ways to improve raw aim without spending thousands of hours on practice. So why is low sensitivity better? Let's pretend that moving my mouse 1 inch on my mousepad equates to the size of this target in-game. In order to hit the target, I need to flick such that the center of my mouse falls into that 1 inch diameter circle on my mousepad. So given that a target twice as far away appears roughly half the size, if I have my sense, that same 1 inch circle on my mousepad lets me hit this target that's twice as small. Having my sense again lets me hit a target twice again as far away with the same ease. Applying the same logic the other way, having my sense makes hitting a same-sized target twice as forgiving, as the circle on my mousepad that corresponds to it is about twice as large. Also, friction and other human inaccuracies that affect aim are much less noticeable at lower sensitivity, giving you more leeway to mess up yet still hit your target. However, lowering your sense does introduce one glaring downside. While the target circle is larger on your mousepad, you have to flick the mouse further in order to reach it, which can affect accuracy. Luckily though, Valorant is a tactical shooter, where if you need to flick to kill the enemy, realistically you should be losing that fight most of the time anyway. More importantly, better crosshair placement will decrease the distance you need to flick, making lower sense more and more effective the better you get at the game. Plus, even if you're forced to miss your initial flick, the following micro adjustments are all much easier on lower sensitivity anyway. So how low is too low? The times in Valorant where you need to flick the most are when you hear a sound behind you and need to respond, or when you have to turn to dodge a flash. Thus, as long as you can 180-degree turn comfortably without lifting your mouse, you should be fine. So let's say you're interested in lowering your sense. The first thing you need is to clear enough space to comfortably move your mouse. A large mousepad and table space is very important. Having a shorter keyboard and placing it further to the side might also help prevent you from slamming your mouse into it. And a wireless mouse or a mouse bungee can help keep your wire out of the way, and a gaming sleeve, while looking pretty try-hard, can help with arm friction against your table. Now, how do you get used to low sense? First, you need to learn to aim by moving your entire arm using your shoulder and elbow instead of just your wrist. To do this, first have your sense and try playing with it for a bit, slowly raising it if it's too painful to use until it's bearable. After you start to get used to it a little, have it again, and then repeat, slowly raising it until bearable, until eventually you get to your target sense. So in summary, most streamers and pro players play between 220 and 320 eDPI, and that probably means you should too. Lowering your sense is one of the fastest ways to improve raw aim, other than training for thousands of hours. Make sure you have enough mousepad space to move your whole arm and elbow instead of just your wrist. In order to get used to it, have and then slowly raise sense, rinse and repeat until you reach your target sense. That's all for today's lesson. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to the lecturer or the TAs in the comments below. Thanks for attending, and we hope you enjoy your stay here at ValoU.